My guest at this time is legendary pro wrestling journalist and the author of the amazing book, Is Wrestling Fixed? I didn't know it was broken.
They printed 2 copies.
I know. I'm the only one who bought a copy. I think
Unbelievable. Thank you. I got the $8.60 a week ago.
Oh, I'm glad it finally came through, man. I mean, you deserve every penny of that.
Wait a minute. What? Are you trying to make a fashion statement?
What do you mean?
That shirt.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm a big Jimmy Buffett fan.
Well, wait a minute. I'm just a food buffet fan.
Wait.
What?
Did you do? No, wait. Now
you did.
You did.
We better do this show because this is now getting out of hand.
For those that can't see right now that are just listening to this in audio form, Bill and I are wearing nearly the identical blue floral, like Hawaiian style shirt. His is a button down. Mine's a t-shirt.
They're called aloha shirts. I learned. Yes.
Well, that's probably because people see me and they go aloha and they walk the other way, because sometimes it means goodbye, right?
Right. And I asked one time somebody in Hawaii, I said, aloha. He says, what does it mean? He says, it means good morning and good night. I said, well, how can you tell the difference? They said, well, if it's dark out, it's
night. It's aloha, right? Good evening. Yeah, all right. Seems simple enough.
Give you a little Elvis there. Night and you in blue eye. That's not Elvis. That's me.
That was great, though. I'm really happy that
you can't do that song today like that anymore. If you people are watching this on video, you got to take the hat and go like, yo, night and you in blue Hawaii. When there's happiness, there could be love. Come with me to. Okay, anyway.
No, you're right. Everything now has to be hip hop, or else it's not cool.
That's right.
For those that don't know, by the way, Bill, you're not. I mean, you're like in Apter's, the alley of Apter's alley, right? You're in like Musical Row, like the.
Right now, I'm in the musical area of Apter's alley. Well, not all of it, as you can see the
right.
As you can see the sign there that a fan held up one time. Hogan fears Apter, but back here, pardon the finger.
Yeah,
you've been here before.
I have been in this room.
The musical area of Apter's alley.
This is a private karaoke room that you have built into
your house. It's a singing room. I don't call it a karaoke room. I call it a singing room because if I don't know the words to a song, I don't sing it.
Okay, fair enough. It's beautiful.
I know the words to thousands of songs.
I wish we could all cram everybody in there sometime to do a karaoke session with you. Maybe like a premium like fight pay-per-view or something one night where we
come see my one-man show. You know I do that there.
Yeah, I'm just saying to bring to the masses. We got to get you on closed circuit, baby.
We'll do it. We'll do it.
Anyway, Bill, you're here. Before we get to all the stuff, Hell in a Cell, I do want to get your take on some of that stuff. You were on the Treasure Show that WWE does. Most Wanted Treasures, I believe is the name of the show. And you got Andy Kaufman. You got a tiny version of his neck brace there. And first of all, congratulations. You came across really great. I know a lot of fans just really enjoyed seeing you and what you brought to that program, first of all.
I really appreciate it. It's funny, from all the years that I've done TV and the 50 some odd years that I've been doing this, and even the times when I was on the Ted Turner Network, I got more reaction from this show on A&E than WWE's Most Wanted Treasures than anything else. And I think because a large part of the public that watched this weren't just wrestling fans, they were fans of Andy Kaufman, who you call Kaufman.
Kaufman.
Yes.
Right.
So yeah, they came down here in October and November. And I've had that neck brace lying in the back room of the basement like forever. And when I came to StarCast a few years ago, I brought it with me, and I never thought to tell you that this is one of the neck braces that I got or the neck brace that I got.
I know.
So yeah.
I'm upset, Bill, because like had I known that, I'd have tried to get it off you before WWE got it from you. Like the fact I like shared space with you multiple times where that was in the room and I didn't even know about it. I was very I was melancholy. I was happy for you. Good for Bill. No neck brace for Nick though.
Well, what was great, what was incredible here is because this was during prime COVID time and the whole crew came to my house and not a lot of them had to stay outside in the truck, etc.
Sure.
And the few that were down here, Jerry Lawler and AJ came down here, and a lot of camera people, and they were all Andy Kaufman fans.
Mm-hmm.
So it was great. And I never thought twice about it. The picture of me with Andy, with him wearing a neck brace and all. I never really thought. See, I was a friend. Yeah, that's it.
That's the photo.
I was at. Wait, let's hold on. Put it back up there.
Okay.
If you have 3D glasses, you put them. So, I have 7 pairs upstairs. I'm a 3D addict. I love 3D. Yes. So anyway, so when they came down here, my neighbors were like, "What is going on here? It looked like Channel 6 local news here, like someone was murdered in the neighborhood." It's very exciting to have them come to Apter's Alley.
Yeah, because had Jerry ever been to your actual home? I know you told me not a lot of wrestlers have ever even been in your home.
No, he had never been here. And it's funny, about 20 minutes before the crew showed up, this guy in a car shows up, and what's this guy standing in front of my house for in a car? And I go out, and it's him. And he brought me this mask. He and I loved the old Universal horror movies. Yeah. And he brought me a mask of all the Universal horror movies that I wear every day.
Oh, like a cloth mask. Okay, got it.
Yeah, with the Mummy and Frankenstein and Bela Lugosi as Dracula and Lon Chaney Jr. as the Wolfman. Yeah. I love those movies.
Jerry really genuinely liked you. Like, you guys have been friends for a while, it seems like.
Oh, yeah. And, once we found out that beside wrestling that we had horror movies in common, there's an old classic movie from the late 1930s or 40s that I saw when I was a kid called The Invisible Man. And there's an old lady in the movie who goes up the steps of the pub to see what he looks like. And he takes off the bandages and she goes crazy, running down the steps going, "He's got no face." And every time I call Jerry Lawler, I have to do that imitation for him. Every single time.
Well, you might have to do it every time we do a podcast now.
Hold on a minute. Wait a second.
Okay.
Hold on a minute.
We have props, people.
No,
we entered Carrot Top and Gallagher levels of podcast.
Oh, I was around long before Gallagher. Please.
Yeah? It's not a time thing. I'm just picking out my favorites. Oh, the Invisible. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And when I was telling you about when you held the book up before, I wasn't kidding. Wow, you look great in 3D, Nick. Incredible. Coming at you.
I'm hitting you through the screen. So I could sit here and talk to you, obviously, for another hour about Andy Kaufman. That's most of what I bring up with you, but that's not inherently what this interview is set to talk about. But I'm really glad we got to chat about your TV appearance because it was amazing. I'm happy.
Thank you. I appreciate everybody out there who had such a I gave it to them. I wanted them to have it. When it came down to it, because I was such a large part of that whole relationship, that I put the key in the ignition that started that whole Andy Kaufman, Jerry Lawler thing, I wanted to give it to him. And for him to give it to them, that's fine. I was giving it to him, and I was donating it to whatever he wanted to do with that. Yeah.
Now here's last thing on the Andy stuff, because again, I'll go down this rabbit hole and we'll lose track of time. But because the Andy thing did so well, and it was part of Jerry's episode, and they did a nice piece on Andy and kind of put Andy finally in a WWE piece, right? Like, they don't really do a lot of Andy Kaufman stuff.
Right.
Do you think that this signals maybe something more about their interest in doing things with Andy and his legacy? Because this is one of the only times I can ever think of them really taking the time to talk about Andy's contributions to pro wrestling. Well,
I hope this is the entree to him being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. He was on one episode of wrestling from Madison Square Garden where Vince had him down at ringside, and he did a little shtick with Vince Jr.
Really?
Yes, yeah.
Wait, there's Andy Kaufman, Vince McMahon footage that I did not.
Absolutely. He did, and I don't think his dad really liked it, or not Andy's dad, Junior's dad, but he did do something at Madison Square Garden with him. Yeah.
So, Okay, real quick. So wait, Vince and Andy did something, just like a little interview on the side of the ring,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Andy promoting Taxi kind of deal?
No. Andy was talking wrestling shtick. It's on YouTube somewhere. I've seen it.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah. Why don't you look it up while we're on here?
No, we don't have time. I got to do other things. We got to talk to other things. All right. Anyway, Hell in a Cell. Let's talk about it, Bill.
Yeah.
Main event ends. Hell in a Cell match. Big, brutal blow off to the feud between Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre with a manager distraction and a roll up. How did you feel about the finish to that match?
Well, let me go back to what would have been Hell in a Cell. Rey Mysterio Jr. And Roman Reigns put on a Hell of a Cell match.
Yeah,
that was a pay-per-view mate. That would sell out any arena. And Rey Mysterio, I love him because here he lost the match, but he doesn't lose any of his greatness through this. He tapped out. The match looked like a shoot half the time to me. It was so good and so well done. I want to compliment both of them, and Roman Reigns has become such an amazing character. I don't even know if he knew he could do what he's doing. I think he's fabulous, but that was supposed to be one of the main events at the pay-per-view. So now we're talking about Bobby Lashley.
Real quick, before we get to Lashley, because you pivoted to that. So why? Because it was so good, and I agree with you. Why do you think? Why do it on SmackDown? Why not have it on the pay-per-view? What do you think happened there?
Oh, I just think that they had another commit. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I think Ray wanted to watch something on Netflix that night. It was only on once. No, I'm not sure.
Well,
no.
Pros and cons then, I guess. What do you think?
Actually, to be honest with you, they probably wanted to pop the rating on SmackDown.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Well, they did over 2 million for the first time in like a couple, in over a month or something like that, I think.
Yeah, that was it. And plus the way that they played this, where every week, Ray got a lot of time alone in the ring with no interference at the beginning of SmackDown. And you could see how emotional he was. And you were looking at his eyes and going like, this is for real. This is for real. This is like, it's that feeling that I used to get when I was a teenager watching wrestling.
Yeah.
And then when the match happened, it was the buildup to it, even just that night. It was like, I can't wait for this main event.
Yeah.
I can't wait for this main event. And that's what wrestling shows should be.
Yeah, 100%. And so pivoting back to Lashley and McIntyre then with this roll-up finish, and a very physical bout. Drew McIntyre obviously got really beat up in that match.
Oh, yeah, I saw his back. I mean, that it looked like lashes from Lashley on the back. But Bobby Lashley, number one, another guy who's improved so much just in his appearance, because when you talk about a sports champion, he looks that part perfectly. He really does. Drew McIntyre is a consummate athlete in that ring as well. And Lashley, although, he was beaten up a lot in that match, and there was manager interference, and a lot of people didn't think MVP could still handle anything like that, but he did what he needed to do. But the managerial interference was just right in that match to let Drew McIntyre lose, but still with an asterisk where Adam Pearce can come back and say, you know what, we're going to do one more for you, Drew, but this time MVP is banned from ringside.
All right, but let's say, and maybe they go that route. We're recording this before Raw, so we're going to release it here, I think Tuesday or Wednesday. So we don't know if what they're going to do tonight to reset on the tracks, right? But in this moment, we have two champions that have retained. I don't really think that I think they're going to stick to this stipulation. I think they're going to try to find something else for McIntyre to do. I don't know.
You know what I would do?
What's that?
Send him to SmackDown.
Well, and that's the thing, is you've got Money in the Bank on the horizon here.
Yeah.
This is the guy who's looking for, you're looking for a way to pivot him over. You've also got the draft, not too far in the future as well. But man, would you like to see Drew with that Money in the Bank? Would that intrigue you? Do you think that's a good use of it?
Absolutely. And at his height, he's a sure guy to win that. No, I think he'd be spectacular in Money in the Bank, and people are going to root for him. They don't like what happened to him at Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
But Lashley, even in winning with a questionable win, when he got up that ramp and they raised his hand when he had the belt, he still looked like a hell of a champion.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He looks like the fighter, like a boxer or an MMA fighter after a fight, and he put on a very good performance. He really did.
And so, with that said, you say how he looks like a boxer and an MMA fighter. There's reports right now that Brock Lesnar could maybe coming back imminently here. Does Lesnar Lashley? Are you on the hook for that if that's the route that they seem to be going?
Maybe. I think it's something that will draw very well, but in a lot of, and I'm talking sports wise now, but in a lot of big matches, I noticed that Brock chokes. He doesn't do as well as he should.
You think I have noticed that as time goes on, Brock's matches have gotten like way shorter. Like it is once in a blue moon that he does a match that goes more than like 6 minutes.
Yeah. And what's Paul Heyman going to do?
It's a great question. What would you do if you've got Brock and Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman around?
Well, I think that at this point, Roman Reigns would probably be my focal point. I think Brock would come in and be a little, hey, what do you need this guy for? And just a lot of different scenarios could go on there.
So you're far more intrigued by Brock Roman than Brock Lashley, right?
Yeah.
I just wonder what you do with Lashley then, right? I mean, Lashley Cena, I don't know if that resonates quite the same way because everybody's talking about Reigns Cena could be the thing on the horizon.
Well, I think Lashley and McIntyre aren't done
again, dude. They just did a stipulation,
but again, there was interference from MVP.
It's a no DQ match.
I understand. I totally understand that it was no DQ, but there's always that. Okay, it was no DQ, but we didn't know that your manager would interfere.
I am sorry, Bill. I disagree with you.
Lashley Roman Reigns is something I'd like to see.
And, okay, Lashley Roman Reigns, I'd love to see it too. But let's mark this one here. Raw's going to be in like a little over half an hour from after we record. This will come out after. We'll find out how accurate Bill Apter. Are we getting more Roman or are we getting more Drew versus Lashley?
I'm speculating.
So Friday now, the gimmick for Reigns this Friday is he's doing an open challenge.
Yeah.
Right? Who do you think is going to answer this open challenge for Reigns on Friday?
Or that could be Brock.
You Brock?
Maybe it's Becky Lynch.
But not Becky Lynch. Come on now. Come on.
Open challenge for Roman Reigns is going to be one of the Usos.
You think so?
Yeah. I don't know it for a fact. Everybody's going, he knows. They tell him everything. No, I don't know. It's going to be an Uso.
One of them. Okay, because like Jay was mysteriously missing here from this past.
It's going to be Jimmy. I was waiting for Jimmy to pull that behind the back attack.
Okay.
And it just wasn't the right moment. It's going to be Jimmy.
Well, you brought up Becky Lynch. Both the women's champions retained again, just like the men at Hell in a Cell. Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair. If Becky's in the wings here, where do you insert her into the picture? What would you do with her? What do you think of where the women's division is at right now, I guess, on both these brands?
It's a little confusing, but I just don't know. I love the fact that the women are getting, their opportunity to really shine. But Bayley, who I've known since she started, has become an unusually annoying character in a lot of ways. Do you agree?
So wait, are you saying negative, like annoying in like a negative way, or a good kind of heel?
No, in a good kind of annoying. It's like she's kind of grating to the fact where you want to see her beaten.
I'll say this: she's a very engaging character at the moment. Like
she's very engaged. She's very engaging, but to the point of grating, where you want. It's like the old school way of you want to see her shut up. You want somebody to shut her up already. A
little bit, like if
I'm talking character, not her.
If like kind of Vicky Guerrero could wrestle, kind of deal.
Well, she's more annoying than Vicky was to me.
Wow, you
Absolutely.
think
Absolutely.
Bayley? There's my headline. You know that's the headline. You think Bayley is more annoying on the mic than Vicky Guerrero?
Absolutely. Excuse me.
See, that's annoying. Like I watched Bayley, and what I tweeted out about Bayley this past week was, Bayley's really found her voice during the pandemic era, kind of like Roman has.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't think quite as strong, but
Yeah.
once you get Bayley in front of fans again, I mean,
she's going to bring the house down. They're going to hate her. It's going to be great. So listen, Bayley, if you're listening to this or watching this, I love you, and I love this character that you have,
yes.
and it's getting over so very well that I want to see somebody come in and let's shut her up already. This type of thing. It's not a negative thing, but to say that your character is becoming more annoying than Vicky Guerrero, that is a very high compliment in my book.
I would agree with that. I agree.
Yeah.
Well, hey, talk about annoying characters. Let's touch on the fact that you and Pat McAfee had a little back and forth over on Twitter. So you were not high on him standing on the table and dancing to Nakamura's
and screaming,
which he does now. He did it again on Friday. I'm sure you noticed.
I did, but I didn't. That night, I was sitting there on my recliner. I had the volume up very high, and I like he and Michael Cole together. I think Pat McAfee's terrific. I really do. And I've tweeted that in the past, but did I ever get a tweet back from him with all due respect? Thank you, Bill. No. So here it just got to the peak one time, and I said, I can't listen to this. And I just typed the thing. I didn't even know he'd know who I was. And then for him to come back and say, with all due respect, F off, I get it. I'm sorry it irritated you, but it irritated me that you had, as a professional, you had to use the F-bomb. Wasn't necessary. Just say, hey, Bill, with all due respect, I didn't appreciate what you said. Something like that. That's fine. But I don't have anywhere near the fan base he does at all. Yeah. But my fans were very upset at what he said. And matter of fact, this past Friday night on SmackDown, I complimented he and Michael Cole on the great job that they did on the Rey Mysterio Roman Reigns match. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
did he say with all due respect?
Nothing. So use the F-bomb. That's what upset me. I think he's terrific. I think he's extremely entertaining. He's good at what he does, and I have nothing against his broadcasting. But that night, I just was like, please.
Every time he stands on that table now and screams and holds his phone with the lights on, I'm like, this is because of you, Bill. He does this now because of you, Bill.
But I didn't even know he'd know who I was. So,
Who tells you to F off? And by the way, he didn't say F off. He used the full F word.
Yes, he did. That's correct. He did.
What about
rhymes with puck?
What do you think about the new Jimmy Smith guy over on Raw?
I like him. He's not. You know what? He's not overbearing. He's a commentator. He's really good. I like him.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Bill, we're gonna wrap it there.
You want to wrap? You said. Oh, I'm sorry. That's all we have to say. That's Wrestling Inc. today.
That was terrible, but whatever. It was good. It was so good. It was so bad. It was.
And again, by the way, Bayley, if you hear this, please take that as a compliment. I don't want another Pat McAfee thing going on here.
If Bayley tells you to F off, I think we're really all going to be scratching our heads.
She's a great, classy lady. And he's probably a great, classy guy too. Just the F-bomb. Listen, maybe it's a generational thing, but the F-bomb bothers me.
Sure. And it's unfortunate because we started talking about Andy, and there are very few people that give off that Andy unpredictability vibe. And Pat really does have a vibe to him that I think is it adds an element of anything can happen, including telling Bill Apter, I guess, to F off, which is very unpredicted and, whatever. Anyway, Bill, this was very good. What a lively chat we had tonight.
Nick, is wrestling fixed?
I didn't know it was broken.
What a plug.
We'll end it there. Bill, that was great. Did you have fun?
Oh, yeah, I didn't get my see you at the matches in. Gee.
Then we're not done. I thought you were I thought this was your end thing now.
It was. Well, no.
Well, we're not done. I haven't finished recording. Like, do you want to, like...
Well, thank you for the plug of my book. But, my sign-off has always been, we'll see you at the matches eventually.
Okay, now, is that the end? Or do you want, like, is there something... That was it, right?
I think so. I mean, I'm on all night.
Okay.
Here, so
okay, all right.
Thank you, everybody, for all your support through the years, and you, especially you, Nick.
I appreciate. Hey, we appreciate you, Bill. So
we did a great podcast together.
We did. We should do it. The thing is, while I'm chilling here, and I do want to run off and go eat dinner before Raw, but our shirt, the Rick and Morty inspired Bill Apter and Nick Hausman shirt, is still available, I believe, in your Pro Wrestling Tees store.
Never got that.
Dude, it is such a good shirt. It is designed, I believe, by my friend Taylor Armstrong. I need to place an order for it myself, and I'll wear it around.
Me too. I need one.
I'll see about getting us some. We'll wear some Rick and Morty shirts this summer. When we're not wearing our fly blue floral Aloha shirts.
We love these. And by the way, VOC Nation Wrestling with History drops every Wednesday with me, the voice of choice, Bruce Wirt, and of course, Killer Ken Resnick.